Hi, thanks for coming on. Andy speaking. Friday, 20th of December, just gone 6. Apologies if you're going to get this a bit late. Don't forget, some of these games are tonight. It's a bit of a mixed coupon over the weekend. We got games tonight, tomorrow, Sunday. I think there's one Monday. Crawley, was it Crawley, Birmingham? I'm not sure, but there's games Monday. There's a game Monday. And we'll be back. I think Christmas Eve we'll do one. Ready for Boxing Day. Probably in the afternoon, because what's that? That's a Tuesday, so most of this is going to be finished tomorrow. We could probably get a lot of the work done Sunday, Monday. Yeah, Christmas Eve afternoon. Just check Twitter, but I'd say probably late afternoon, probably about 4 o'clock on the Tuesday, ready for Boxing Day. And then that's on the Thursday, and then probably back on the Friday. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. If in doubt, check Twitter. But Tuesday, there will be something here by this time, for sure. Right, let's get into it. I'll start with England. And firstly, I've got to say it's a really, really poor card in England. We have 5 teams in League One that are odds on that shouldn't be. We've got another 2 in League Two. So, out of all the fixtures, 24 fixtures in Leagues 1 and League 2, there's 7 matches with a team that's odds on that shouldn't be odds on, but trying to oppose that is quite difficult in some areas. Some of them aren't so bad, but there's nothing that you can really be confident about opposing. But we'll come to that in a second. It was a fantastic weekend last week again in Scotland. I think, what did we make? 1.6 points, 1 win from 2 bets, and do we have 5 from 7 in the National League? Absolutely brilliant. National League's on fire. I think 10 of the last 13 have won or something. England, Wrexham let us down for a brilliant weekend at home to Cambridge. They are down in my book now as unreliable. I've never been overly a big fan. I know they're third in the table. They're not a top 3 side. I've said this for a long time. They're there because the likes of Huddersfield, Rotherham, Bolton, etc. are underperforming. But to not be able to see off Cambridge, awful. Not good enough. Cambridge, Huddersfield, 25, 25, 50. And as I've just said, we got a team here at odds on which I don't think warrants it. Cambridge are 3-3-3 at home. Look, they're no great team, but the fact that draw at Wrexham last time, they've held Barnsley, Bolton, Blackpool here. I think that's pretty decent form as it goes. Huddersfield are okay. I mean, they're in decent nick themselves. I mean, 5 of the last 8 they've won. They're unbeaten. They're flying along. Most likeliest winners for sure. It's just the price. And when I say odds on, I don't discriminate between odds on and odds against. Is because it's about that figure there for us. That's what we're interested in. But it's just saying that they don't deserve to be odds on, and I've got absolutely no qualms about backing odds on. You know that I'd back a team at 1-4 if they should be 1-6 because we're getting value, and value is the name of the game. Never be afraid to back something at a short price. It's all about what is in the price in relation to its chances. Huddersfield have got a 50% chance of winning this game, which equates to evens. They're 19-20. The bookmakers are nicking 5% just on that alone. So it's not a game for us. Huddersfield most likely winners, nothing in it. Stockport, I mean, in these games of tonight, these first 3, I'd Stockport Peterborough. I think that could be an absolute cracker. Stockport 6-2-2 at home. They're in decent nick. They probably are. They've won 5 of the last 8. They've had a slight wobble, but the fact they've seen off Wrexham, Reading, Bolton here and scored 10 goals in those 3 games, they did ought to be seeing off Peterborough, who are 13th. They've lost 5 of the last 7. 4 of the last 6, and 5 of the last 8. So they're not in the greatest nick. Their record to teams in the top 8, home and away, is played 6, lost 6. They've lost every game to the top 6 sides, which tells you something. Stockport ought to be winning this. It's just too short. And when I say like Huddersfield don't deserve to be odds on, Stockport are too short, Wickham again odds on shouldn't be, it doesn't mean to say they're not going to win. It means that there is no value in their price in relation to their chance of winning the match. There's 1.17 points in Peterborough. We think they're 100 to 30. They are 9 to 2, so there is plenty in there. But the problem is their best win's been against 15th place Exeter, and I've just told you their record against the top 8 home and away. Played 6, lost 6. Stockport are 5th. But there's incredible amount of value in there. A point in a 5th is excellent. Wycombe Bolton 50, 28, 22. Wycombe are top. Slight wobble. Well, they had those couple of draws, didn't they? They racked up a whole sequence of wins. I mean, what was it? Was it 8 or 9 on the row? I forget. Then they've had a couple of draws. They got the wheels back on. Well, not the wheels back on. They won again last week. My only concern, I think they'll win? They did ought to be winning this, but I just want to say, home and away against the top 8, their record reads 1-2-2. They've just had the one win against Stockport. Bolton are 8th. They've won 13 matches from 19, Wycombe. 12 of them have been against teams 9th and below. Draw your own conclusions as to whether you think they are in a false or slightly false position. Bolton's best road win has been against 12th place Stevenage. Their other 3 road wins have been against teams 18th and below, so they're not the greatest on the road. But again, as I say, it's just for that reason which I've just highlighted why Wycombe probably... Well, not probably. They don't deserve to be as short as 17 to 20. I mean, you're getting asked to take 0.05 less there, 0.015 there, and 0.2 there. So you can see that the bookmakers are thieving bits all the way along the line. Bristol Rovers, Wrexham. Again, now another team. I don't think they should be odds on at all. Wrexham 10 to 11. Absolutely not a chance. Right, Bristol Rovers 4-2-3 at home. They've lost the last 3. Sacked the manager. You generally do get a bit of a bump up when someone gets the bullet. There's 1.2 in them at 30%. I'm backing it. I'm not saying you've got to back it. It's not going on the account. And it's like first thing somebody did was after the games finished last week was sent a nice email about. I did say about Ayr United and Hamilton that there wasn't value in them, but they were such big prices at sort of 3 to 1. I backed both of them, and both of them won. And I'm happy to do that because as I say, there's immunity for me as far as losing runs are concerned. But I would not be backing Wrexham at odds on. They've played 9 on the road, won 3, drawn 3, lost 3. Team that's won 3 times from 9 on the road, it shouldn't be 10 to 11. You know that as well as I do. Yes, they're the most likeliest winners, but come on, 10 to 11, not for me. And we've got another team here, odds on, that shouldn't be. Lincoln 50, 27, 23, 4 to 5. I don't see how. They're 9th. Their record against teams above them reads 1-1-4. Just remember that. They're 9th. Their record against teams above them reads 1-1-4. Reading are 6th. Now, Reading on the road are 2-4-4, so they're no great shakes on the road. Their best win is at Peterborough, who are 13th and 15th placed Exeter. But they've drawn at top place Wycombe. They've drawn at 2nd placed Birmingham. They've drawn at 7th placed Barnsley. Reading aren't without a chance. When I worked this out and I saw we had Lincoln in at even money, I didn't think Lincoln would be odds on. But when I saw them 4 to 5, I was quite excited. But sadly, there's just not enough in Reading for a bet. Nowhere near. There's a 77% chance they won't win this game. But I have to say that, Lincoln are odds on. So you've got Huddersfield, Wycombe, Wrexham and Lincoln. Odds on shouldn't be odds on. Now, I'm not saying any of them aren't. That they might all win. They might all hose up. But the point I'm making, that if you were to back any of those sides, you're not getting value, and over a long period of time you will lose money, because 50% of those bets are going to win at 19 to 20. Every time you bet, you're losing 0.05, so you're losing 5% every time you bet. Just think on that, because it's something that people email all the time and ask me, and like, oh, you didn't pick a winner there. You can. It is football's not about picking winners. Betting isn't about picking winners. And as soon as you get that idea from your head, you know it's easier to make money. Betting is about finding value. Once you find value in things, the winners find themselves. Just remember that. Barnsley Orient 44, 26, 30. Barnsley 5-4 on our book. They're putting it 11-10. It's too skinny. Why would you want to back a team at 11-10? They've played 10 at home. They've won 2 of them. Drawn 5, lost 3. The best win's been against 17th place Rotherham. They've been turned over here by Wigan, Mansfield and Birmingham. Orient, 0.2 in them. It's not enough for a bet, but I'm just saying, I think it's poor business. Blackpool Stevenage 50, 28, 22. Blackpool only won a couple of games at home, but they've only played 8 games at home. They've beaten Exeter and Burton. They've drawn Wickham. They held Wickham here in Lincoln when Lincoln were in really decent nick. Blackpool have beaten Huddersfield and Reading on the road from the top 6, so we know that they are an okayish side. Stevenage sit a few places below them. Now Stevenage have won 7 games, but 6 of them have come at home. That to me their form is slightly skewed, and by that I mean they've played 11 games at home, won 6, played 7 away, won 1. If they continue in that trajectory, the next 4 games, say for example they are all away, I mean what's the average they're going to pick up? Maybe a point. So you could see them tumbling down to sort of 19th, 20th position, which I think is more of a true reflection of where they are. There's 0.15 in Blackpool at 50%. It's up to you how you see it. Burton against Exeter, 28, 28, 44. Very difficult to get excited about anything in this game. I mean, Burton, I do think Burton will drop this season. The one bit of hope you'd have, for if you're on Burton or a fan or whatever, their record against the top 10 is played 8, lost 8. Their record outside of that is 1-2, drawn 6, lost 3. So against sort of teams in the bottom half of the table, they can more than hold their own. Exeter are 15th. It's not a gimme for Exeter. I do think they'll probably win, but just to bear that in mind with Burton, it's a slightly skewed look. When you see a team that's bottom and you think, oh, they look a terrible side, go and scratch the surface, and as I say, they're awful against the teams in the top half. They've lost them all, but if on form in the bottom half, they're sort of more than capable of holding their own. They are capable of winning this. I just don't think they probably will. Mansfield against Rotherham. Mansfield is 5 losses, 1 win in 8, isn't it? They've lost 5 of the last 6. I just don't trust them. They're 3-3-3 at home. Complete mixed bag. Best winners against 10th place Blackpool at home. Rotherham is 17th. I mean, we had Rotherham challenging. Its home form's okay. They've only lost twice to Birmingham and Wrexham, but away from home they've won 1 game all season. Away at Cambridge 1-0. Look, I mean, they're only 8 points off 6th place Reading, so it's not over and done with, but they've got to start showing something, particularly on the road. You can't just keep winning at home and losing away. You're going to end up sort of mid-table-ish. There's 0.1 in them. I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't touch Mansfield either. It's definitely a game that offers nothing as far as we're concerned. The following game, Northampton against Charlton, 32-28, 40, 4-2-3 at home. I didn't think they were overly bad, Northampton. I'm going to throw a few quid at them, and I'll tell you why. Not on the account, but the top half at home, played 3, lost 3. Against teams in the bottom half at home, played 6, won 4, drawn 2, lost none. So they've got a 4-2-0 home record against teams in the bottom half, and they've only shipped 2 goals in that. Charlton are 14th, and they've lost 5 away. They've lost away at Exeter, Stevenage, Bristol Rovers, teams in the bottom half. Well, Stevenage aren't they? 12th, but it's not a convincing away record from Charlton by any means, and to find them at 11-10, I think is very, very short indeed. I think Northampton are worth a bet. It's up to you. But 0.7 at 32% is okay. I mean, there's 8% difference in them in ratings, but you've got one team at 11 to 10. You've got one at, almost 11 to 4. It's a ridiculous price discrepancy as far as we're concerned. Northampton should be backed. I'm not saying they're going to win. Wigan Shrewsbury, another team that I've said story of the day, shouldn't be odds on. Wigan 50, 27, 23. They've got a 3-2-4 home record, and again, you could say, well, how are they getting on against teams in the bottom half? They've been turned over by 18th placed Orient, 14th placed Charlton here, drawn with 15th placed Exeter. It's not like they've rolled everybody over in the bottom half. Look, Shrewsbury on the road are 1-1-7, but the win came at Crawley, who are in that bottom section as well. I'd expect Wigan to win. There's an awful lot in Shrewsbury, but it is more of a hoping bet. It's when I just said about this, you can actually make a decent case for Northampton. The case for Shrewsbury is minuscule. I think Wigan will win, but you're being asked to take 3 to 4 about an even money shot, so you're being cheated out of a quarter of a point or 0.25 or 25%, however you want to look at it. Crawley Birmingham 18-22-60, can only see one winner here, but they're not the worst side at home. They've played 9, won 3, drawn 2, lost 4. They've held Huddersfield and Stockport here. They've beaten Lincoln and Blackpool. Birmingham have lost at Charlton and Shrewsbury. Just don't forget that. But they are 6-1-2 on the road. I'd expect Birmingham to win. They've had a bit of a wobble. They've won the last 4. I think they'll win this. But, I mean, again, you're being asked to take 2 to 5 for a 4 to 6 shot. You're losing 0.26. That's over a quarter of a point. There's 2.5 points in Crawley. If you wanted to back Crawley, Shrewsbury, Northampton, Bristol Rovers, Peterborough, I wouldn't blame you at all. I mean, we're talking 9 to 2, 7 to 2, 27 to 10, 9 to 2, and 7 to 1. There's some absolute cracking prices there. I'm sure at least one of those would go in, but I can't say we're sure, but it's not beyond the realms, is it? And you're taking on poor value sides, which is something which we always have to do. Right, let's get on to League 2. Crewe, Colchester. A couple of sides here which shouldn't be odds on, but not as bad as League 1. Crewe 44, 27, 29. We see them at 5 to 4. They're 29 to 23, 20. There's nothing in them. Half a point in Colchester. Colchester on the road have been tough to beat. They've played 9, won once, drawn 6, lost 2. They've only lost at Wimbledon and Walsall, who are in the top 4. Crewe are third, so just bear that in mind. I do think Crewe will win, but Colchester are capable of getting a draw. Gillingham Charlton 43, 26, 31. Nothing to get enthusiastic about here. 0.07 in Gillingham. 6.04. They're unpredictable. Cheltenham are 13th on the road. They're 2.25. The wins have been at Colchester and Carlisle, who are in the bottom third. All of Cheltenham's wins, home and away, have been against teams 17th or below. Gillingham and 9th. I'd expect Gillingham to win. I've just got no trust in them at all anymore, sadly. Barrow against Fleetwood. Barrow are falling like a stone. I did say at the start of the season they were one of my bets to go down. They started off fine, but I mean recently it's the last 9 games they've drawn 4, lost 5. If you want to go further than that, take it 12 games. On their 12 game form it reads 1-1, drawn 4, lost 7. They're falling like a stone. I think there's every chance Barrow get relegated this season. They're at home to Fleetwood, placed above them in the league, Fleetwood, aren't they? But Fleetwood have won at Walsall, they've won at Cheltenham. They're 3-2-3 on the road. They're capable of getting something from this game, Fleetwood, but it's just not for us. Doncaster Tranmere 55, 27, 18. Doncaster seems to be going off underpriced every week, and people keep talking them up, but let me just say they've won 1 of the last 6. Okay, 1 of the last 6.
I think that was at Fleetwood. So, or was it Port Vale? I can't remember. Anyway, but the point I'm making, they've won one of the last 6. That's not title winning form at all. They're 7 points behind Walsall, who we're on at 25-1. Please, they're 4 points clear. We are in absolutely some smashing positions. I have to say, anti-post. I'm not going to get my hopes up because it could be absolutely mega. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. But Walsall, I think, are as short as 11-8. I think we're on them at 25-1. Let's just keep everything crossed. Tranmere at Doncaster, I was going to say. Tranmere on the road are 2-5. Their record against the top boys, they've lost 3, drawn 2 on the road. I'd expect Doncaster to win. I just don't like them at the prices. I just don't like Doncaster at all. They're untrustworthy. Accrington, Salford, 34-28, 38. Salford had done us a few good turns of late. Accrington 2-5-2 at home, only lost to Crewe and Bromley. You can see them holding out for at least a draw, can't you? Salford are an okay nick, though. I mean, they've won 2 of the last 3. But they've only won once on the road. That was at 18th place Colchester. I think this sort of smacks a bit of a draw, if you like. Chesterfield against Wimbledon, another team I said you have to oppose. They're not going to win the league. I've never understood why they were putting favourites. Just ridiculous. I mean, they're only 9 points behind, but Walsall have got a game in hand, and they're not going to win the league. Again, for this tomorrow, we think they should be 6-4. They're 11-8. And bear in mind, they've played 10 games at home and only won 3 of them. Why would you want to be taking 11-8 about a team like that? Wimbledon are 4th in the table. They're 4-1-4 on the road. I couldn't even begin to imagine backing Chesterfield. Harrogate against Walsall. They're 4-0-6 on the road. Harrogate, they've beaten Doncaster, Chesterfield, Bradford and Newport here. That's not bad. But they've lost 6. They've lost to Port Vale, MK Dons and a couple of other top sides. Walsall on the road are 5-2-2. They've lost to MK Dons and Tranmere. They've not lost for a long time. And that was a home defeat by Fleetwood. They've not lost on the road, I don't think, since August or something. They've won the last 3. They're tanking along. What I like as well is they've been to Port Vale, who are 2nd. They've been to Wimbledon, who are 4th. Chesterfield 6th. MK Dons 8th. Grimsby 7th. They've been to some really, really decent teams. They're 4 points clear with a game in hand. I can't think about it. I can't talk about it, but we are in an absolutely fantastic position with Walsall. Okay, 25-1. 4 points clear with a game in hand. Wouldn't it just be brilliant? They're just too short tomorrow. Morecambe against Bromley, 24-26, 50. 0-3-6 at home. Not won a game, Morecambe. Bromley, 3-4-2 on the road. They've beaten Harrogate, Accrington from the bottom area. They've not lost a game to anyone away from home in the bottom half. They're 2-3-0. They've not lost in a while. Could see Bromley getting something from this game. Newport MK Dons 24-26, 50. The Dons are flying. Got turned over last week after a winning run of 6. They ought to be able to get the wheels back on at Newport tomorrow, but I just don't want to take 3-4. Again, I don't think they deserve to be odds on against a side which at home are 4-2-2. Newport, I think, are in a little bit of a false position because they've had to play 11 games on the road and only 8 at home. And they are 4-2-2. You give them another 3 games at home, say if they won 2, they'd be up to 28, 29 points, sort of mid-table, 9th, 10th, which is where they are. I mean, they've beaten Crewe and Doncaster here in Salford, so I mean that offers some hope tomorrow. I think MK Dons are by far the most likeliest winners, as we know, but they just don't warrant being odds on. Notts County Bradford 42-24, 34. I'm out of love with both of these. I really am. Notts County, we know, I've said all the time, oppose. They will not win the league. They don't know why people get overexcited with Notts County. They are what they are. They're a mid-table, unreliable side. as are their opponents tomorrow, Bradford, who I'm gutted about. We backed them, didn't we, on the outrights at 14. Started the season really, really well. But one win in the last 8, just, no, it tempers any enthusiasm, doesn't it? It really does. I just don't know what to make of Bradford City. I mean, they're a sort of team. They could go to top of the table, Walsall, win 3-1, and then next week they'll go to bottom of the table, Carlisle, get turned over. That is what you're getting with Bradford, sadly. Port Vale, Carlisle, 50-26-24. Again, I don't think Port Vale warrant being odds on for this. And you can look and say, what, you're talking rubbish. They're second in the table. They're second in the table. At home, they've won 4, drawn 3, lost 2. So they won 4. They've won 4 from their 9 games at home. They're 4 without a win. They've won 1 in the last 6. You think that team should be odds on with form like that? I don't. Carlisle are 2-2-5 on the road, but they've only had 1 defeat in the last 5. That was last week at home to Chesterfield. They could get something out of this game. Hard to know, isn't it? I just don't trust either of these. I certainly don't trust Carlisle for betting purposes. And Port Vale, as I say, they're just out of form and they're just too short. Swindon Grimsby, 34-26-40. I find the price is completely wrong in this game. We make Grimsby 6-4 and Swindon 2-1. Bookmakers make Swindon 11-8 and Grimsby 2-1. Right, I'll tell you our side of the story. Swindon are 2-2-5 at home. They've beaten 15th place Fleetwood, 17th place Newport. Grimsby is 7th in the table. Home and away against the top half. This is home and away against the top half. Swindon's record reads 1-0, drawn 3, lost 7. They are 0-3-7 to teams in the top half of the table. At home to teams in the top half of the table, they are 0-1-3. Grimsby are 7th. Grimsby on the road are 6-1-3. To teams in the bottom third, they are 3-1-0 away from home. Swindon are 22nd. Yet Swindon have put in 11-8. Absolutely not a cat in hell's chance. Hoover up that 2-1 on Grimsby. They have to be backed. And that's it for England. Let's get on with Scotland, the proper football. Right, Scotland then, Premiership. Don't forget, this is tonight, Motherwell Kilmarnock. Is it tonight or is it early tomorrow? I can't remember. Anyway, 48-25-27. Killie on the road are 2-2-6. Their best winners against 7th place Dundee. Motherwell are 4th. Motherwell at home are 4-1-3. I just don't like the fact they've lost at home to Dundee and Hibs. They did ought to be winning this tomorrow, though. There's 0.2 in them, or tonight, whenever it is. Sorry, I slipped my mind. There's 0.2 in them. Aberdeen against Hibernian, 50-26-24. The wheels have just come off slightly. They're 5 without a win, the Dons. But the only home defeat has been against Celtic, and they drew with St Johnstone. Other than that, they've won the other 7. They drew 3-3 at Hibs. Now, Hibs on the road are 1-2-5. Against teams in the top half, Hibs' record reads 1-0-4. They've won 1 and lost 4. Now, if you're going to back Motherwell and Aberdeen, which I am, you only need 1 winner to make a profit from the 2. So that is, both of them ought to be winning, but you can make a case for Aberdeen being out of form and Motherwell being a tad unreliable. But for me, I think that at least one of these will win, so that will give you a profit that way. Rangers Dundee 75-15-10, 7-1-0 at home. They're going to win, simple as that. Dundee are 1-3-4 on the road. They got a 4-1 doing at Aberdeen. They'll lose by a similar amount, I would imagine, to Rangers. Ross County against St Mirren, 35-25-40.
I mean, Ross are 3-3-3. All defeats have been against top three, Celtic, Aberdeen and Rangers. So St Mirren are 6th. That offers hope if you want to back Ross. They're a decent price, and there's 0.72 in them. St Mirren on the road to teams below them are 2-1-1. They've won at Hibs and St Johnstone. Ross got a draw here earlier in the season, so make of that what you will. Dundee United Celtic 12-22-66. No point in looking at this game at all. Celtic played 8 on the road, won 8. They're going to win this, simple as that. Dundee United are 5th. Their record to teams above them is 0-1-4. They've won none, drawn 1, lost 4. Celtic are top. Celtic will win. Hearts St Johnstone 56-26-18. Hearts should not be 4-7. Absolutely not a chance. I'm sorry. They're better than where they are. They're just not performing. Is Critchley the right answer? I'm not so sure he is. I'm hearing some stories which I don't like coming out of the club, I have to say. Now, that's not just reflective of the manager, but the club as a whole. Would I want to be with St Johnstone? Absolutely not. But I just don't think Hearts should be 4-7. I think it's a bit of an insult of a price. Well, more than a bit of an insult. Let's get on. Moving on, Championship. Queen's Park Wraith, that's tonight. 42-24-34. Queen's Park at home to teams below them. Played 4, won 4. Wraith sit below them. Wraith on the road are 0-1-6. You can only see one winner really when you talk about form like that, can't you? 0.25 in it. Airdrie against Partick, 19-26-55. I mean, Airdrie won the opening game of the season. It's been all downhill since then. They're going to drop. They're 9 points adrift already, and it's not even the end of the year. Partick are 4th. Partick on the road are 2-1-4. I'm not saying they're good things for this Partick. 7-10 is a skinny price. Really is. But they did win at Queen's Park, so can win at Queen's Park. They ought to be winning at Airdrie. Falkirk Hamilton 66-22-12. I think that's far too skinny. 100-30 on, or 3-10, whatever you want to call it, for Falkirk. They got turned over last week against Ayr, and I did flag that up, and I did back Ayr. And if you remember Hamilton, I flagged up Hamilton last week, and I did back Hamilton against Queen's Park. So we know that Hamilton are capable, but not on the road. I think Wraith will win. Wraith will win, but Falkirk will win. But they are only 2 points ahead of Livingston, but we're on both, so we are happy. Morton Dunfermline 35-27-38. Looks a game that likely to be a draw. The Ton against the bottom lads have played 5, won 3, lost none, so you can make a bit of a case for Morton. Dunfermline on the road are 0-1-7 as well, so just bear that in mind. Livingston Ayr 50-26-24, 6-2-0 at home. Livingston, they did win Ayr 2-1 earlier as well in the season. Ayr on the road have only won twice at Hamilton and 10th placed Airdrie. There's a bit in Livy. It's up to you. Right, Scottish League 1, awful coupon. Have to say, there's one game with a better value in it at the bottom, and that doesn't interest me. We'll fly through it. Annan against Arbroath, 30-26-44. Annan 3-3-2 at home. The defeats have been against Kelty and Alloa, and they're not good against the top boys. Arbroath have found their way to the top of the table. They should be winning this tomorrow, Arbroath. There's just nothing in them, sadly. Cove Alloa, I mean, just from my own knowledge, I was hoping to end up backing Alloa in this game, but no, there's nothing. There's nothing in the prices. Cove we give a 40% chance to at 6-4, and they are 6-4. They're 5 without a win. They've drawn 2, lost 3 of the last 5. Cove, they're just, hit a brick wall of late. Kelty Queen of the South 40-28-32. 4-1-3 at home. Queen of the South on the road are awful. They're 0-2-6. Kelty should win, but again, there's nothing in it.
Montrose Dumbarton 45, 27, 29. Difficult one. They've lost to Cove and Inverness. They ought to be up to beating Dumbarton. Ought to be. They've only won once on the road. That was against top table Arbroath, but that was a wee while ago. Hard to know what to expect. Montrose did ought to be winning this. Again, there's just nothing in the price. Stenhousemuir Inverness 44, 28, 28. 6-4. We see them at 5-4. They got a 6-1-1 record. Hence why they're shorter than why we've got them shorter than what bookmakers have. Inverness, they had a little run, haven't they? 3 wins and a draw in the last 5. On the road, they've won at Montrose and Cove. That sort of does temper my enthusiasm slightly. Don't let me put you off backing Stenhousemuir because there is value in it and they are rated to win. Finally, Scottish League 2, Clyde Forfar 48, 24, 28. They're not the worst at home. Played 8, won 3, drawn 4, lost 1, and that loss was a wee while ago. Forfar are below them in the table. I actually, when I put Clyde in at 11 to 10, I was expecting to see them at probably evens, maybe even odds on for this. I'm quite surprised they're as big as 5-4 because every week of the season they've been going off far too short, and yet here we are, find them in a game where we do expect them to win, and there's value in it. I do think they'll probably win. East Fife against Spartans 48, 26, 26. 1 win in 7. That is what my problem is with East Fife. It all looks rosy. 48%. Should be 11 to 10. They're 5-4. 0.15 in it. Spartans have won 3 of the last 4. So, if you go back to the Clyde game, this is just a point I'm making that you've got 2 teams rated the same, both got the same amount of value in, but Spartans are far more of a stronger opponent for East Fife than I think Forfar are for Clyde. That's my own personal view, and when you look at it, you have to say, yeah, that's probably right. My Spartans have only won once on the road. That was a bottom place Forfar. But I would sooner, if I had to back one of them, I know it probably sounds wrong, but I would sooner back Clyde to beat Forfar than East Fife to beat Spartans. I'm not saying either's going to happen, but that's just my own personal take on it. Edinburgh Elgin 30, 22, 48. Edinburgh, it's so hard to get a handle on them, isn't it? I mean, they've won, what was it, 5 of the last 7. They're going really, really well. 23 to 10. Elgin, there's 0.1 in. I wouldn't want to back Elgin City here. Sorry, they're 3-3-2 on the road. They lost at Bonnie Rig and East Fife, drawn at Stranraer, Clyde Forfar. I think it's quite an open game. If I had to bet, if I had to bet, I would bet Elgin because there's 0.1 in them. But I would rather try to make a stronger case for Edinburgh because of the price. I don't like Elgin on the road. They're top of the league. I'd be amazed if they went up. Amazed. Petehead, Bonnie Rig, 50, 25, 25. Don't think they should be odds on. Sorry, they're 5-1-2 at home. I know that. I'm fully aware. But 1 win in the last 4 isn't good enough. Bonnie Rig are 2-2-4 on the road. They've won at Stirling and Stranraer. Petehead, most likely winners, but 8-11. Wow, it's just far, far too short, isn't it? And that sums up this weekend. Teams in and around the even money mark, bookmakers have hammered them into odds on. I don't believe there's been that much money for these sides. Sorry. I know full well there's not been a drop for these, unless places that I can't find. But we've not seen a penny for Peterhead. Don't think they should be 8-11. Sorry. Stirling Stranraer 42, 26, 32. Again, 2 teams which are untrustworthy. They've played 8 at home. Stirling won 3. Yet here they are at 5-4.
Not for me, thanks. Stranraer on the road are 3.05. They've won at East Fife, Edinburgh and Spartans. That's pretty decent form, isn't it? But again, 0.2 in it. I don't like either of these two sides, if I'm honest, for punting purposes. League Two this season, I think... I don't know. I mean, you just look at the two of the teams, in the top four, you've got Edinburgh and Elgin. Oh, I mean, come on, no. It's a funny league, isn't it? Best bet in the league, it'd probably have to be East Fife, wouldn't it, or Clyde, but there we go. Let's move on. Right, weekly double, blew out last week. Short prices. I mean, there were some funny results, wasn't there, last week? And I don't like anything in the Premier League at all this week, really. The double's going to be Leeds and Livingston, which is 1.42 to 1 with Hills. I think Livingston, it certainly boosts the price up. We've got to change his figures as well, because I think, what have we had? We've had 7 winners, 6 losers. So it is 13. So that's a 53.84% strike rate. Profit on investment. It's just going to be around the 10% mark, isn't it? Because we've had 13 bets. It's 10.46 to 1. Which is down on what we want. We want the magic 12.5%, don't we, in the 50% strike rate. So we're going along well on the strike rate, but we've had some shorties. That's a good one today. That's a bit bigger than 11 to 8. And here, of course, we've changed this one around. So that's 30.76. So this is dropping like a stone. And it's funny, isn't it? And like I say, just that one extra team makes it so difficult. And we've had one winner in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One winner in the last 6 weeks. It's not good enough, is it? And that wasn't a true winner because Farnborough was called off. So fingers crossed we can... So this week one is Leeds, Livingston and Falkirk, which pays 2.14, which is just a shade... it's just a shade over 2 to 1, isn't it? So fingers crossed we can land that, or at least land the double. I do remain confident on the doubles. On the trebles I don't. I did say that when we started. Trebles and accas, they are not for me, doubles only. But even that is proving tough at the moment, isn't it? And in the Premier League, I mean, Man City, the wheels have absolutely fallen off completely. Which, that's a massive worry, isn't it? If you're, on them, because they're not going to win the league, are they? I mean, who wins the league now? Chelsea, for my money, would probably be a decent bet at the prices. I still think there's something wrong at Liverpool. Not wrong at Liverpool, I just think that Liverpool are doing their thing and everybody else is failing and giving it to them, if you like. I don't see Arsenal as champions, sorry, I don't. Who else is there? City won't be. Tottenham, Manchester United, Aston Villa, they won't be. And did you see the game last night? Oh my crikey. I told you Tottenham are the best team to watch. Look at the other day, they put 5 past Southampton in a blink of an eye. And last night they scrambled to win 4-3. They were 3-0 up and cruising. It's chaos football, but it is absolutely brilliant to watch. I mean, the last 2 games of Tottenham, you've seen 12 goals going. It's brilliant to watch. Makes you wonder what would happen if Ange did get it right there. But there we are, guys. That's it. We'll be back on Tuesday afternoon with a look at Boxing Day. And I might have to drop something because of the time scale. So rather than talking about teams where there's nothing in the game, we might just drop some. I might drop a few of them out just to save my time and your time.
because once I analyse one team and the draw, then I know. So it would save me a lot of time, and we are going to be pressed for time on the Tuesday. So, but we shall see. I will try and get as much work done as I can after the games tomorrow night and on Sunday and on Monday, and get it out for Tuesday. And fingers crossed. But we are flying in Scotland. The National League as well is just wow. It's England that we're having problems with at the moment for some reason, and that's quite rare. But Scotland is flying, National League is flying. Let's hope it continues, and I'll be back Tuesday. That's it. Bye for now.